Well, I'm 17, and just about a little bit over a year ago, I got my first job. Now, of course, you know, I'm a very successful stand-up comedian, but they don't actually pay me to do this. You know where they pay you to do stand-up? Bars. You know what I am? A minor. Now, unfortunately, we're not in Germany where just any 16-year-old can waltz right into a Hofbrauhaus and order a beer from Hildegard. So I have to wait a whole 4 years until I can make this anything lucrative. God bless the USA. So I decided to, you know, put on my big boy pants and get a real job at the world-famous Italian-American dining establishment, Pizza Hut. It's great. It came with a lot of challenges that I didn't necessarily anticipate from the very beginning. As an employee, our main job is to help the customers as much as possible. Unfortunately for me, helping the customers doesn't include telling them when the thing they ordered is just a bad idea. Several of the things on our menu are things that I disagree with as a person who consumes food. For example, we have one pizza that is called the Chicken Club Pizza. Now, I don't know if any of you enjoy this, which I won't judge you for, I'll just look at you, like this. But it's a pizza that has some fairly normal ingredients on it, some chicken, some diced tomatoes, and then the base, instead of being tomato sauce, is a lot of mayonnaise. And I made several of these, and I lie awake at night, and I think about two things. One, after I die, will I have to atone for my sins against food? And two, will I ever be allowed into Italy again? Now, we get some orders for pizzas that I deem bad, but we get some orders for pizzas that I don't even deem pizzas. One time, I had to take an order over the phone for a large thin crust, not the cheap pizza, by the way, that had no sauce, no toppings, extra cheese. So what this person had ordered was a really, really big cheesy cracker. My Pizza Hut is in the parking lot of a Payless, essentially. So I can walk out the back door of my Pizza Hut. I can walk into the Payless. I can pick up a box of Ritz crackers. I can pick up a box of cheese. I can pick up some cheese. And I can have my own cheesy crackers for much less than this person was paying to DoorDash this large cheesy cracker to their house for $25. And you know what I had to tell them as I was taking that order? Thank you for buying from Bethlehem Pizza Hut. Another thing that's been a little bit difficult for me is interactions. The one that I work at is kitchen only. We only do carry out and delivery, there's no dining, which I thought would be fantastic for me because I have a problem when it comes to interacting with the general public. And so I thought this would be great, but it turns out you still have to interact with people working kitchen only, just not in person. You do have to pick up the phones. Unfortunately, people's microphone quality leaves some stuff to be desired. I feel like in general when I talk to someone on the phone, I can hear what they're saying. When I talk to someone on the phone in Pizza Hut, it sounds like I'm hearing them through a snorkel in a war zone. Which is perfectly fine if I'm taking an address and it's something like 15 Main Street, but it's much more difficult when they live on 3528 Schmiggledy-Diggledy Boulevard. I have to spell that correctly. The third thing that's a little bit of a struggle for me is enthusiasm. In the workplace, they really want you to take pride in your work, which makes sense. That's understandable. But I work with a bunch of teenagers, and I'm a teenager. And part of the disconnect there is that as a teenager, one of your biggest priorities is being as apathetic as possible towards everything. We have these cups of cheese that say pride in the pie on the side. I feel no pride whatsoever. It's just, oh, it's pizza. It's pizza. It's nothing. I had a manager who was super enthusiastic. Every time she would leave the store, she'd be like, all right, guys, I say pizza, you say hut. Pizza? Hut. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. There was nothing. There was nothing. There was just a lot of staring back at her with a look of kind of just sadness. Now, as everyone who has a job does, I have some conflict with my coworkers sometimes. I don't always think that they're doing things the most efficient way. I don't always think they put quite the right amount of cheese on that big cheesy cracker. But I will say I had an experience a couple days ago that really increased my appreciation for my coworkers who are actually trained in food service. Because I was working a middle school football game concession stand for 4 hours with the aid of only 2 middle school girls. Bless their hearts. I looked at them in the very beginning when we weren't busy yet, and I said, later on in the night when we have a line, I'll probably be a jerk. And they looked at me and, they nodded like they knew what I was talking about. They didn't know what I was talking about. And unfortunately, I also didn't really know that these two were unfortunately part of, like I said, my old enemy, the general public. And so they didn't always do things exactly the way that I wanted them to be doing things. They were very excited to be up at the front, taking people's orders and putting the money in the cash drawer and shouting, I need someone to get me some nachos up here. But unfortunately, if they did that, no one would be getting the nachos because that was supposed to be their job. My job was standing at the front and taking orders and taking the money because that's something that I am uniquely qualified for, not them. In fact, well, I actually don't think they're uniquely qualified for anything in the concession stand. Really, unless there was a job that's description was standing in the front and talk to your friends while they don't buy anything and stand in the place where people are supposed to buy things. I wasn't bitter about that at all, as you can tell. The whole night there was a large disconnect between what they should have been doing and what they were doing. In my opinion, what they should have been doing is standing in the back by the fridge with a Pepsi in hand, ready to throw it to me as soon as I ask for it. But what they were doing was standing by the cash drawer trying to figure out how to make change for a 20 when the order was $10. The worst part for me was when we were getting really busy, I was taking a lot of orders, and I hear from the other side of the concession stand, here's your change, that's $1.25. I have the menu memorized, of course, at this point. And I know that everything is either $1, $2, or $2.50. So I say, wait, hold on. What are you doing here? I'm giving this person their change. It's $1.25. Okay? I want you to look at the menu. I want you to tell me which item on this menu would leave you would leave you 25 cents in change. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I know I'm right. But Pizza Hut. There are several. There are great things about Pizza Hut. I said that enthusiasm is difficult, but I will admit that sometimes when I drive past Domino's, I can't help but just say quietly to myself, "No one out pizzas the Hut." And another nice thing is that I've managed to stay at the lowest level of peon the entire year that I've worked there. Which means that I don't have to know any of the answers to anybody's questions. No one has ever demanded in anger that they speak to a manager because I've always suggested it first. Hey, I'm just calling to see, what time does your store close? Would you like to speak to a manager about that? No, I just want to know the closing time. Sorry, I just work here. One last difficulty that I have is that I'm not a very good businessman. So we're supposed to upsell things at the end of orders and be like, read them their order, make sure we got everything right, and then say, now would you like a brownie or a cookie or a soda with that? Now, this is a problem for me because it goes against my principles of being able to single-handedly solve the American obesity crisis. So I've decided to not do that. This is going to fix it. This is it. I'm not upselling. And the second thing is plugging Pizza Hut whenever new stuff comes in. We get a lot of new types of pizzas and stuff. There will be commercials, and I'm expected to talk about it. But I don't really feel comfortable like letting my job that's not that important to me like change what I talk about to people and like what I like wear or something. And so I just have a lot of difficulty doing that. And so, you know, but if any of you are hungry, there is the new 16-inch Big New Yorker now at Pizza Hut for only $13.99. Get it while you still can. Thank you very much.